Hello, how you doing? This is a video where I will describe how my course is going to look like. So welcome students, parents, or maybe you just like to learn about how math classes work. Welcome to this short video. What I'm going to do is talk about how my course is going to look. It's going to be a blended course, which means we use a lot of technology, but we'll also, do a lot of stuff in person when possible. It says on the top, this video is for my Algebra 2 honors course, but most of this can be applied to all my courses. There should be a lot of back and forth between students and teachers. So most important thing, make sure you respect everyone. Feel free to share your thought process. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. But let's start off with talking about Google Classroom. So that's going to be our home base. The stream is where I'm going to post announcements. So hello world. So at the beginning of each week, I'll post a message here explaining what assignments you need to do for that week. And we're pretty flexible on time. The beauty of a virtual class is that you can work at your own pace for a good portion of the class. This section over here, the classwork section, is where you can find all your assignments. So it's in chronological order. So if you hit view more, we'll get to the bottom here. So spent a lot of time this summer uploading these assignments. So we start from the bottom and work our way up. If we look over here, these will say the due dates once I get around. Well, at the beginning of each week, I will edit those due dates so you can kind of pace yourself. And then these are the assignments. Now, when you click on them, that's where you could find all the directions and all the attachments. So this is the day one assignment. We'll sign on Zoom. I'll show you, probably by the time you're viewing this, if you're a student, you've seen this already. But here's another assignment. It's got attachments right in there. All right, we'll talk about what CAMI means, but this is like your home base. This is where you can find all your materials, and anything mandatory will be posted here. I also have my own website, scevmath.org, where you can find a lot of extra material, but you'll never have to go there for something mandatory. Everything that you need will be posted here on Google Classroom. So there's a couple different ways you can get in touch with me. One, obviously, if we're in school, never hesitate to come ask me a question in person. If you're at home and you have a question that's not a private question that you don't mind other people in the class seeing, and if it pertains to a particular assignment, you can click on that assignment. And then if you see the instructions here, there's a little class comment section. So if you have like a question that's unique to an assignment, this is a good place to post it. And if you see a friend or a peer or another student post a question and you know the answer, feel free to answer. You can also post on the main stream. Let's see, so feel free to post here. Or if I make a post and you want to comment on it, something constructive, feel free to do so. Another way, never hesitate to email me. All right, ascevola@ridgewood.k12.nj.us. I'll check that frequently. To maximize your potential in this class, I'm going to give you a lot of feedback. So you need to put in a solid effort on all the assignments. And I promise I won't give you busy work. Everything that I give you does have a purpose. And when you do your work, you want to make sure you show your work. And if I give you an answer key, you want to self-assess and check your work and correct your mistakes. And if you're not sure how to do anything, you can always ask me for help. Now, how I will give you feedback, one way is by commenting on assignments. Like it could be over here, like with a private comment. But also, I'm going to use this program called CAMI where I could highlight, let's say, okay, let's say you put a question, let's say you answered it here, like this is your work, not a blank worksheet. I could be like, oh, try this again or something. I could also leave you like a voice comment. So sometimes it's like hard to type out math stuff. So I might like highlight something here and, it says allow you to use your microphone. I'll talk into it and then you'll see a little dot here. You can click on it and then, and you can give me comments back. So when you write comments on here, I should get a notification. So if you have a question, right, you can ask me over Zoom, you can ask me in person, but you can also like write a comment, a voice comment, if you're not sure how to like type it out. Okay, now here on page 2 of these course expectations, it explains what I just talked about, and then also how to add the extension. So if you just follow these directions here, it'll show you how to install the CAMI extension on your Chromebook, and then you'll be able to, utilize CAMI on your Chromebook. There's also a video here on how to use CAMI. For grades and assessments, we're going to have formative assessments and summative assessments. So summative assessments are like big tests at the end of the unit. We'll talk about those later. Formative assessments, those are things like homework, or we're going to use this thing called Delta Math to take little quizzes, and they're pretty awesome. I'll show you how it works. Pretty much you get like it's a little 6-point quiz, which you could do on your Chromebook, and you can use resources. And you shouldn't have a tutor helping you through these. As long as you understand what you're doing and you're not copying someone else's work, I have no problem with that. For formative assessments, for summative assessments, there'll be like a little disclaimer at the beginning saying, you have to do this yourself. You should have no assistance on this. So make sure you follow those directions. But so formative assessments are just a way for me to gauge how you're doing, your strengths and weaknesses, and also for you to self-assess how you're doing, what you need to work on. So Delta Math is where we're going to find those. So it's a website that helps you build your math skills. So first, if you want to pause the video, in this document here, it'll show you how to add yourself to the Delta Math quiz classroom. So right here, so you go to deltamath.com, you create an account. You put in this code. That's my own personal code as a teacher. And then once you enter that code, you'll see all my classes pop up, and whatever class you're in, you're going to want to add to that class. This is what it should look like on your end. This is, I made an account like as a student. So you see it says 6 out of 6 there. So that doesn't mean that I got all 6 questions correct right away. The way we're going to score Delta Math assessments is that you're going to get a point for every question that you get right and a point taken off for every question you get wrong. So here's what a typical question looks like. Now, for every answer, you get 2 attempts. So the reason why I do that is because sometimes like you might type something in, and because it's hard to type math, you might have the right answer, but you might type it in wrong. So if you answer incorrectly, it'll say your answer's incorrect. You have 1 more attempt. So maybe you could catch a mistake. All right. And if you do, you get a point. And if you get 6 in a row right, then that's it. You're done. Once you get the grade that you want, and the maximum grade you can get is a 6 out of 6, you can stop. So let's say you get the first 5 questions right, and then you get the next question wrong. So now you're at a 4. And then you get another question wrong. Now you're at a 3. And then you get 2 more right. All right, now you're at a 5. All right, let's say you're just content with a 5. I hope people strive for 6s on everything, but let's say you're happy with a 5. All right, then you could stop right there and you have a 5. You can watch a help video, so take advantage of that. All right, Kahoot is another fun formative assessment. I'm sure you've heard of that before, but those are quizzes that we'll do. And if we're not in person, we could do those over Zoom. All right, summative assessments, those are the bigger tests. So figure like formative assessments are worth between like 2 to 10 points usually. All right, summative assessments are big tests. Those are usually worth like 50 points, and you only get like 1 shot at those, unlike the Delta Math quizzes. All right, so they're like unit tests, or if we do like a performance task or a project. So asynchronous means you could do it on your own time, anytime, any place. So most of the assignments will be like that. All right, if you're in class with me in a hybrid schedule, I would expect you to work on math during that time, but maybe you worked ahead or you're falling behind. You could pick and choose which assignments you work on. Synchronous assignments means, like synchronized swimmers, people do all, swim, in unison. That means we're doing the assignment in unison. So that'd be like a Kahoot or like a group assignment. So how can you tell? So when I put it in the Google Classroom post, all right, as in the classwork section, it'll say the date and the time right in the title. If it looks like this, all right, you need to sign on to Zoom at 1:30 on September 12th. So videos are a big part of this class. I like them better than live lectures because they allow you to rewind, pause, fast forward, and you can still ask questions. I will be available like every class period over Zoom or in person, because I will post all the videos you need on Google Classroom. But I do have extra videos that aren't mandatory that I post here. So if you look at this playlist, this is for Algebra 2 honors, like the first chapter. So like these first 2 videos, they would be mandatory and I'd put them on Google Classroom. But when you ask me a question and I'm on Zoom explaining it, all right, I will always say, hey, your question on exponent, well, I'm going to record this because someone else might have this question, and then I'm going to upload that question to my YouTube channel. You might want to come to the YouTube channel and see what extra videos I posted on exponents. And the way you find them is to go to whatever chapter you're on, and I put all these in chronological order. So like here's radicals, see that's a video that would be mandatory, and then here's me going over 2-3 different examples. Now, sometimes when we watch a video, you'll get a video like here, like P2 radical video, and you'll also get guided notes, which if I open this up and show you what I mean, it'll say, okay, watch the video up to, minute marker 2:55, and then do these 6 questions here. All right, and then watch the rest of the video up to minute marker 17:40, and then answer those questions. All right, that's one way we're going to watch videos. Another way is to use Edpuzzle. Now, here's like an example of Edpuzzle. So you watch the video, and when you get to a certain part, then a question will pop up. So the question's over here on the right. Which set does 2 root 10 belong to? So let all that apply. All right, so that would be a real number, and because you can't write it as a fraction, it's irrational. All right, you submit it. Wow, you did it right. Nice. All right, there's some feedback there. So if you got it wrong, read the feedback or try to figure out what you did wrong, and then continue watching. Right, and then some other tech tools here. So how to for virtual learning. So this is like, I showed this document earlier, but it just kind of has explains how to do some things. So you want to download Google Classroom on your phone, just because anytime I post something, you'll get a notification. All right, you want to know how to scan things as a PDF. So if you have an iPhone, you can do that. The directions are here. If you need help with that, please let me know. If you have an Android, here are the directions for scanning stuff for the PDF. If you don't have a smartphone, let me know. It's okay. We can figure out other ways for you to submit your work. But if you have a smartphone, the best way is to scan it as a PDF. And that's different from taking a picture. PDF allows me to comment on it a lot more easily. So please, I'll make sure you know how to do that. Then we also have scevmath.org. So that's my website that I've been building for the last couple of years. You don't have to find anything on here that's mandatory, but I just want you to know that it's here, because there's a lot of extra resources here that we may not get to in class. So it's, if you're looking for extra practice, I would look in the textbook first, and then this is another good place to look. All right, my YouTube channel, I showed you that earlier. You could just find it by clicking on this link, or you could just search my name on YouTube and it should pop right up. You can always ask me a question over office hours, which is pretty much, if we're in person, it's just, I'll be in class, you can ask me questions, or it's period 9. But if we're virtual, that period, I'll post a time and a link on Google Classroom and say, here, I'll be on Zoom on Tuesday from 1 to 2 if you have any questions, and then you just sign on, ask me questions. Students come in and out. You don't have to stay there for the whole time. All right, so that's different from our synchronous meetings, which will occur like once or twice a week, where I'll say, all right, everyone has to sign on to Zoom at the same time. But here are the topics that we'll be learning this year. And it follows pretty closely with our textbook and also the information I have on scevmath.org. But that's it, and hopefully that's the most boring that this class will be all year. And it usually is the first day when I talk through everything, but I hope you found this video enjoyable, and if you have any questions, please let me know.